There are three specific stages in a woman's life when her desire for a relationship becomes noticeably stronger. This does not happen randomly. It is not only emotional, it is psychological, biological, and deeply connected to the way human development works. And if you are a man who fails to recognize these phases, you will continue misunderstanding women again and again. Most men assume that women want relationships in exactly the same way throughout their entire lives. That assumption is completely inaccurate. Scientific research suggests something very different. Developmental psychologists from the University of Chicago, after studying women's relationship motivations across different age groups, uncovered something that people rarely discuss openly. A woman's desire for companionship does not remain constant. It increases significantly during three very distinct and predictable periods. And what she seeks during each of these stages is completely different from the others. What the researchers discovered surprised even many experts themselves. Let's begin with the first phase, between the ages of 18 and 22. This is the stage of exploration and emotional discovery. During this period, the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for long-term planning and decision-making, is still developing. Because of that, her attention is strongly focused on the present moment. She craves excitement, emotional intensity, passion, and new experiences. She is not thinking deeply about where she wants to be 5 years from now. She is focused on what makes her feel alive right now. At this stage, she is usually not searching for a lifelong partner. Instead, she is gathering experiences, learning about herself, and discovering what kind of emotional connection attracts her. The men who often stand out to her during this period are the ones who bring energy, spontaneity, confidence, and excitement into her life. But this is where things begin to shift. The second phase usually appears between the ages of 25 and 30. This is where everything slowly starts changing. Her environment changes. Friends begin getting married. Couples around her start building families and stable lives together. At the same time, what many people refer to as the biological clock, something neuroscientists confirm is more than just a social myth, starts creating a subtle but persistent sense of urgency. Researchers from the Columbia University, while examining female attachment patterns, discovered that during this stage, women often begin evaluating men differently, sometimes without even realizing it consciously. Attraction is no longer based only on chemistry or excitement. Now the focus starts shifting toward long-term potential, emotional stability, character, maturity, and future security. The same woman who once chased intense emotions at 21 may suddenly begin valuing reliability and consistency at 28. So if you have ever seen a woman unexpectedly raise her standards, become more selective, or completely change what she expects from a relationship, understand this clearly. It is not random. There is usually a deeper psychological reason behind it. Now we arrive at the third phase, between the ages of 38 and 45. This is perhaps the most misunderstood stage of all. By this point, she has lived enough life to gain clarity. She has built her own identity. She may have experienced deep love, disappointment, heartbreak, or even all of them combined. And eventually she reaches what many women describe as one of the most defining moments of their lives. Her priorities begin changing once again. At this stage, she is no longer interested in impressing people. She wants peace. She wants emotional safety. Not financial security alone, but emotional steadiness. She values consistency, honesty, emotional presence, and authenticity more than anything else. Psychologists often refer to this as the authenticity shift. During this phase, superficial attraction loses much of its power, while emotional depth becomes far more important. The qualities that once seemed exciting may now feel empty, and the qualities that once seemed ordinary suddenly become deeply attractive. Now here is the truth every man needs to understand. If you meet a woman during any one of these stages and fail to recognize what she truly needs at that moment in her life, you will start taking her behavior personally. You may think she is complicated. You may think she is inconsistent or impossible to understand. But in reality, she is often responding naturally to a stage of life that most men were never taught to recognize. And here comes the uncomfortable reality. A woman who feels deeply connected to you during one phase of her life may naturally grow distant during another phase, not necessarily because you failed or did something wrong, but because her emotional needs, priorities, and perspective have evolved over time. The men who avoid constant confusion and disappointment are usually the ones who understand this pattern. They do not rely only on timing or attraction. They build connections based on emotional alignment and genuine understanding. Because the real question was never simply, what does she want? The real question has always been, what stage of life is she currently living through? And if this perspective has just changed the way you see relationships, then the next video goes even deeper, revealing the subtle signals women give during each of these phases, signals that most men completely overlook. Understanding them could change everything for you.